So let's get into some other news and notes here, because this was the other big story here this week, and this is something that I was very excited when I was watching what went down yesterday. New Japan hosted its second night of Wrestle Kingdom yesterday from the Yokohama Arena for the second year in a row, pitting the stars of New Japan against the stars of Pro Wrestling Noah, with the top 5 matches being a best-of-5 series, pitting the members of the Los Ingobernables de Japón faction against Noah's Congo stable. So we had Tadasuke beating Bushi, Manabu Soya beating Sanada, Hiromu Takahashi beating Hajime Ohara, Shingo Takagi beat Katsuhiko Nakajima, and in the 5th and deciding match, Tetsuya Naito won it for LIJ with a win over Kenoh. After the match, Keiji Muto got into the ring and challenged Naito to what will be his final match ever at the Tokyo Dome on February 21st. This is his real final match. I feel like this guy has had more final matches than Terry Funk at this point. On New Year's Day, he wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura, right, in what was supposed to be his final ever singles match as the Great Muta. He had his final New Japan match at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. He had his final match ever as the Great Muta in general, not just singles, this morning. And I'll have more on that here in a minute. And now he's having his final match, period, as himself, against Naito at the Tokyo Dome. So Naito accepted. He said that he would clear his schedule to make sure that he can be there. So there you go. Naito is going to get his Tokyo Dome main event after all this year. There's a history here. These two had a match at the Dome at Wrestle Kingdom 6. That was the same show where Okada returned from excursion and he debuted his new Rainmaker character. So it's been a while, but Muta beat Naito on that show. So I think it's appropriate that Naito will be able to return the favor and be the man to retire Muto. The bigger story coming out of the show, and what had everybody buzzing, was the angle that they shot involving Okada, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and Kaito Kiyomiya, the reigning GHC Heavyweight Champion. If Okada is the king of New Japan, then Kiyomiya is the ace of Noah. I can't say that I've seen a lot of his matches, but I have seen his name pop up a lot about how great he is, and now I have to go, seek out some of his best matches from somewhere. But they were on opposite teams in a tag team match. It was Okada and Togi Makabe against Kiyomiya and Yoshiki Inamura. Some background first. Early in the pandemic, Kiyomiya started calling out Okada in interviews, even though they work for, rival promotion or separate promotions. I say rival promotions. I guess they're rival promotions. They're not rival promotions in the way that CMLL and AAA are, fight to the death rival promotions. But he started calling out Okada in interviews. And then last year, when they announced the first New Japan vs. Noah crossover show, Okada was interviewed and he just buried this kid. And it's not that he said anything really nasty or anything. He buried him in a very passive way. It kind of like the way Nick Khan buried Tony Khan in that interview that I talked about earlier, right? He was just like, Kiyomiya, I guess, is their champion, or, he's their top guy. He's just another body on their roster. To him, he's just another body. And so Kiyomiya again called out Okada, and Okada ignored him. He big-leagued him. Said he doesn't deal with people lesser than him. The main event of that show last year was Okada and Tanahashi beating Kiyomiya and Muto, and it ended with Okada pinning Kiyomiya after a Rainmaker. So not only did Okada disrespect this kid, Kiyomiya is only in his late 20s, but he beat him as well. Well, this has been simmering for a while. Fast forward to yesterday's match. And again, Okada big-time this kid. Kiyomiya wanted to start the match with Okada. Okada let Makabe start the match instead. Kiyomiya was not even worth starting the match. He wasn't even worth his time. They were not even a full 2 minutes into the match. Okada had Inamura in a rear chin lock. And Kiyomiya had enough. He got into the ring. He started kicking Okada in the back to try to break the hold. Kicked him 3 times. Okada is no-selling every single one of these kicks. Barely flinched. So Kiyomiya kicks him flush in the face. And Okada immediately grabs his face. He crumples to the mat. He's lucky he didn't get his nose broken. He was bleeding from the forehead. You could see a lump forming on his forehead already. And Okada lost his mind. Okada went into murder mode. He knocked Kiyomiya off the apron into the guardrail, followed him outside. He proceeded to stiff the hell out of him. He gave that boy a receipt. To the point where I wasn't sure if it was a case where he was legitimately angry that he just got kicked in the face and he started shooting on him, or if I was being worked. And that's the best part of wrestling. It's when it makes you wonder, hey, wait a minute, is this a shoot or is this a work? I thought it was a shoot until Kiyomiya gave him that German suplex on the floor, and then I knew, okay, all right. But they had me right up until the German. You know, Okada just beat the hell out of him like he stole money from him. And then Kiyomiya fought back. Okada got pulled away from him. He broke free. They started brawling again. This went on for about, 3 minutes maybe, before the referee finally called the match off. Kevin Kelly on commentary was so good here. He was scolding the referee. I think it was a Noah referee, scolding him for not stopping the match sooner. You know, one of these champions is going to get hurt. You got to call for the bell. And eventually he did, but even when Okada went to go pick him up to slam him on the announce desk, Kiyomiya deadweighted him. I still wasn't sure at that point. This is before the German suplex. I still wasn't sure. Is this real? What's going on here? So he slams him on the table anyway. Then Okada grabs one of the announcer's tablets. It might have been Chris Charlton's tablet. And just throws it at Kiyomiya. So Kiyomiya comes back. He blasts Okada with a running dropkick to the face. This was fucking incredible. Kiyomiya got on the mic and challenged Okada to face him in a match. Okada went to the back. Kevin Kelly said, it's not Okada's fault that Kiyomiya is not over, because he's not. I love the New Japan announcer being biased against the Noah guy. Kevin Kelly is the best play-by-play announcer in wrestling today. This was the best worked shoot that I have seen in years. And it's possible that Okada was upset. They had a plan and maybe, hey, you cut me open. Because I can't ever remember seeing him draw blood. Okada doesn't do blood. But man, it really helped sell this entire thing. And when Okada got to the back, the camera was following him through the hallway. He was furious. I've never seen him before. I've never seen this side of Okada before. This is exactly what he needed. This is the most interesting Okada's been in a while. So now we bring it back to Muta, because this ties in with Muta's final match next month. The Great Muta had his last match this morning as the Great Muta, teaming with Sting and Darby Allin at Yokohama Arena. I saw the clip of Sting's entrance this morning. It was awesome that they played his original Turbocharge theme from WCW, from the Surfer Sting days. And then Turbocharge transitioned into his AEW entrance and the snow began to fall. They beat Akira, Hakushi, and Naomichi Marufuji. Hakushi was doing a rope walk. Muta missed at him and he fell. Sting followed with the Scorpion Death Drop. Darby hit the Coffin Drop. And then Muta finished him off with a second Shining Wizard. The Great Kabuki was there. There's a blast from the past. Muta's storyline father from the WCW days. There's a very cool shot before the match of Muta, Kabuki, Sting, and Darby all posing together in the ring. When Muta first came to WCW in '89, Gary Hart, who managed Muta at the time, claimed that Muta was the son of Kabuki. And Kabuki was the original, face-painted Asian wrestler to spit mist at his opponents. Gary Hart managed Kabuki in World Class years before he started managing Muta in WCW. The Great Kabuki, by the way, as an aside, the Great Kabuki is also, to this day, one of the most random entrants that I have ever seen in a Royal Rumble match. They brought him in for the '94 Royal Rumble. He was one of Mr. Fuji's henchmen. I think Tenryu might have been there too, but I know Kabuki was one of them to help Yokozuna beat The Undertaker in their casket match that night. And then Kabuki came back out. He was in the Rumble. I think he lasted a couple of minutes and that was the end of that. So anyway, that was a cool moment. I mentioned Muta, though, wrestling as Keiji Muto in his actual last match next month at the Tokyo Dome against Naito. It was announced this morning that there will be a singles match between Kazuchika Okada and Kaito Kiyomiya. It'll be the IWGP champion against the GHC champion, non-title. And it will be taking place February 21st at that Tokyo Dome show. They're going to have talent from New Japan, Noah, Dragon Gate, DDT, All Japan, and Tokyo Joshi Pro on that show. And it surprises me because after this angle that they did, Okada and Kiyomiya is a main event on any show. After this angle, the top champion from both companies one-on-one for the first time, how is that not a main event? Except on this one, it's not going to be. They're going to be second from the top because it's Muta's final match. So there's no way that Muta and Naito, don't headline the Tokyo Dome. Maybe they're going to do a time limit draw, and they don't want that to go on last. I don't know. I cannot imagine that Okada loses to him. It's either a draw or Okada wins. But that surprises me that they wouldn't save it for another show. I mean, I know it's the Dome. It's a big building, but either way, they have me invested.